Sports on Tap is brought to you by the Joe Wright Group with Dobie Real Estate, Jason Stiltner at Flagstar Bank, Baldman Entertainment, Land & Sea Motorsports.
Buckle the fuck up.
It's time to play the game.
They are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Time to play the game.
You can't let that shit happen.
You play to win the game.
If we take a fucking tight end, I quit.
Cannot win with him. Can't do it. I want winners.
Time to play the game.
Alongside Frank Giagata and Joe Waddell, I'm Chris Scott. Welcome to this week's edition of Sports on Tap Game Day. Gentlemen, how are we?
I'm fantastic.
It's good.
I love Sundays.
I know you do. I know you do.
I'm here. I'm ready for football.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah.
Frank is still waking up.
Yeah, right.
It'll be the night game. I'll be watching fucking New England Tampa, and I'll still be waking up.
Yeah.
I never get fully going.
Oh yeah, the prodigal son comes back to New England. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Biggest game of the year. Stop it.
Sunday night.
Stop it.
Play some Adele.
Yeah.
You get the
leading
Adele
up to-
songs.
Like, come on, man. What are we doing here? It's
Just hype up the drama
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah. I want to give a shout out to Dan, who has been on the Sunday shows.
yeah.
He's a little under the weather today, so he didn't make it in. We do have his picks for you on the website, sotdet.com. And we'll also, I think he might be joining in via Twitch or,
nice.
or the website
Yeah.
today, maybe,
Okay.
depending on how he's feeling. So,
Okay. Sounds good.
yeah, you had something you wanted to go over with us. A buddy of yours had a trade
Yeah,
offer.
yeah.
Before we start getting into the games for the day.
Yeah. Let me pull that trade up here.
Yeah, so your buddy had a trade offer. It's not necessarily a dynasty league; it's a keeper league,
Right.
with 3 keepers, and it was kind of a big trade.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, so the offer was the guy who I bowl with him, so he wanted kind of our advice on what he should do with this trade. So the trade is he would get a first, a second, a sixth, Debo, Diggs, Josh Jacobs, and Jared Cook, and he'd have to give up CMC, Waller, a 12th round, a 15th, and a 16th.
So I think on the surface, Frank and I both agreed on this one. At first, we looked at it and we were like, "Yeah, I don't know."
Yeah,
That's and I think you said that too.
Yeah,
right?
it
And
was-
at first, it's like, that's rough, man. CMC and Waller,
yeah.
Yeah, you're throwing in your year this year.
Right.
Essentially.
Which, frankly, even if that's you're not going to win anything this year, anyways.
Looking at his roster now, he's
You're not going to win anything this year, anyways.
No, and looking at his roster, you're not. And then when you throw in the fact that he gets a first, a second, and a sixth in there, he gets Diggs in return for CMC and Waller. CMC now, this is 2 years in a row he couldn't stay healthy. It's becoming a trend, and I know it's recency bias because his first 3 years he didn't miss a game.
Right.
But you figure in last year he missed all but 3 games. This year he's already injured, and who knows how long he's going to miss, whether he's going to re-injure it or not. I actually like this trade for him.
I do too.
I think it's a decent trade for him. I would do it because looking at his roster, I hate to tell him this in case he doesn't know already. You're not winning anything this year.
You're not.
I feel like if you're entertaining this trade,
kinda-
you're aware that
you kinda know
this
that.
year's kind of a
Right.
lost cause.
Yeah. So I mean, you're like you said, Frank. I think you're throwing in the towel for this year.
Yeah.
But I think for the future for
Oh,
next
absolutely.
year, it's a good idea. I think it's a good trade.
You got some capital for next year to do something.
And I'm always a huge advocate for doing that. Like,
Yeah.
once you know, and as soon as you know, don't waste time because there's people who will give you ridiculous shit just to win this year.
Oh, 100%.
Like Joe and I are in a league, and I did this a few years back. I threw in the towel when I knew I was done, and I just started collecting draft capital. And everybody started getting pissed off because nobody in the league had done it before. But
Right.
if that is allowed in your league, that's part of the game.
Yeah.
Like, you're setting yourself up for the future. You might not win this year. Throw your money in for this year. Sorry, it's not yours. Next year, though, you go into a fantasy draft, you've got 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and 2 sixths.
Yeah.
6th round in a fantasy draft is still not terrible.
No, it's not. And
Like-
you can do some things with that.
Yeah.
You know,
That's a hell of a roster if you know what you're doing when it comes to draft.
absolutely. So, Brian, if you're listening, we all three of us say do it, man. Set yourself up for
Yeah.
next year because you're not winning. You're not winning shit this year.
No, looking at your roster, you're not going to win anything this year. I mean, you do have a couple of nice pieces to build off of for next year.
And now you can just add to it.
And,
with
and
a-
now, now you're going to add a first. You're going to have 2 firsts next year, 2 seconds next year. It looks like. So yeah, I mean, I would do this trade and look to next year and actually build your roster for next year.
Yep. So there you go.
All right, so let's get started on the games for today. If you boys don't have an objection,
Do it. Go.
first game we're going to start off with is the Giants at New Orleans. We got looks like
not sexy.
not sexy, not sexy. We're just going to continue with that theme.
Not sexy.
Not sexy. This is the Giants are getting, depending on what book you look at, they're getting 7 or 7.5.
Yeah, ESPN's got them at 7 right now.
Yeah, and right here that has them at 7. Multiple books though have them at 7.5. A few of them at least. I think BetMGM and FanDuel both have them at 7.5.
If you are interested in going to this game, tickets are under $30.
Really?
Yes. Still
Wow.
not the cheapest price though that I'm seeing on here. I actually have one listed under 20.
Good lord, which
I
game was
got.
that?
Your boys, the Jets.
I'm looking at the right. That's $18. 18
Who?
bucks.
Jets Titans,
Jets, Titans.
$18. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's bad.
Oh.
You want to go to Monday night? $200.
Let's see. I mean, obviously the money on this game is for the money line is for New Orleans. 61% are picking New Orleans minus the 7. And this is actually one of Danny Y's picks for the week. He took the Giants getting 7.5, which depending on what book you look at right now, you can still get it for 7.5 depending on which one you're looking at.
Yeah.
Or 7. You could always buy that other half point. I'm actually lockstep on him with this one. I look at I don't think New Orleans is anything special at all, and New York hasn't necessarily looked good, but 7.5 points. I think they're good enough to keep this game close enough. I think New Orleans wins, but the Giants keep it close enough for that 7.5 to pay off for you. I actually do really like that. Really like that pick, and Danny has it out for 2 units, so plus 7.5.
This game, I mean, in all honesty, if I have the Saints defense in fantasy, first of all, I'm well aware that I'm not winning anything. Second of all, I'm playing them. I know you don't think the Giants are as bad as they've played, but young Daniel Jones,
That dude's terrible.
He turns the ball over.
Fucking slob, dude.
He turns the ball over.
I cannot stand the way that guy plays football, and I just think the Saints defense is going to eat him alive today.
Okay.
I mean, I don't hate that for the simple fact that he does turn the ball over.
Yeah.
So you're going to get points off of turnovers, whether they score points against New Orleans or not. You're going to get the points for the
Yeah,
turnovers.
and that's what I'm saying. Like,
So he's a turnover machine. I mean, he fumbles the ball constantly, throws picks. I think that
and
offense musters
Saquon
enough.
has put the ball on the ground. I'm not saying that he does it consistently, but he is somebody who's known to put the ball on the ground.
Right. So it's not a bad play as far as that goes. In this game, if you're playing Daniel Jones as your quarterback and it's not a 2-quarterback league,
God bless you.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
quit playing fantasy football.
Yeah.
Just retire.
Oh.
Be done with it. I know you're retiring with no trophies because
Yeah.
you have Daniel Jones as your starting quarterback in one quarterback league. So you've got no trophies. Just retire.
In all honesty, the same kind of goes for Jameis, though.
Yep.
And I know Jameis' stat line has not been garbage, but when you look at what he's done, he's not done anything. I mean,
Yep.
this guy's got 5 touchdowns in a less than 200-yard game. Last week, I don't remember his exact numbers. He put up good enough numbers, but nothing flashy. Outside of the Saints defense, I don't see anybody worth playing in this. And I only play the Saints defense if that's the defense I have to roll with.
Well, this is no longer the sling it deep passing attack, right?
Right.
He's thrown the ball 20, 22, and 21 times.
Yeah, we questioned last year if Drew Brees could throw the deep ball.
Yeah.
There's no question right now. Jameis can't throw the deep ball.
Well, they're not letting him.
I-
They're just
I-
not. They're just not calling. Like, yeah,
But even from watching what he did in Tampa,
Yeah.
I don't know that he has the deep ball in his game. I don't know that he has an NFL.
excuse me, Jesus.
I'm not going to say deep arm, but I don't know that his arm is capable of making those plays in the NFL.
See, and I always saw that as his one strength was the deep, was
He
like
can
the
get
sling it out there.
Yeah, he can get it there.
But like Peyton doesn't seem to trust him, and I think it's within good reason, right? I mean, to me, he's got two quarterbacks on his team that aren't really worth a shit,
No.
right?
I want him to get a shitload of money to, which I still find inexplicable.
Yeah, it gave Taysom Hill a ton of money. He's not even starting him.
Oh, I thought we were talking about Ian Book. It's like Taysom Hill's a tight end as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I mean, Sean Payton doesn't consider him that. But he, again, throwing the ball 20, 22, and 21 times, he doesn't trust Jameis Winston. He doesn't trust that passing game anymore. I think this is a great game for Alvin Kamara. I mean, obviously, if you have him, you play him.
Yeah.
I think he's going to eat in this game.
Yep.
He's hit 20 or more carries twice in the first 3 games. I think he's going to hit 20 again today. And on the other side of the ball, I like Saquon in this game. I really think that defense can be run on New Orleans.
Okay.
I think to keep this game close, I think New York runs the ball more. I think Saquon got going last week pretty good. It didn't look very good in the first 2 games. Looked like he finally got on track last week. I think both those guys eat today.
And on top of that, I mean, those two are kind of they're cemented into your lineup, anyways. Like
Yeah.
if you have
Well, yeah.
Saquon, those are first round.
Although
At
there's
worst
been
case
people
scenario.
questioning sitting Saquon, and I, you know my answer to that all the time is you draft. He's
You
your stud.
draft a guy at that spot, you have to
You
just
play him.
play him.
Like unless he's injured or unless it's like week 8 and he has done nothing
Yeah.
for you, then you sit him. But through week 8, if you drafted a guy in the first or second round, like you drafted them that high for a reason. You have to trot them out there every week. That's just the way it goes. But there's been people questioning whether to sit him. And of course, last week he had a Saquon game, so it's
Right.
like that's why you don't sit your studs.
Right. And that's just frankly going to happen with those guys. Like, you don't know which game. Derrick Henry. We talk about this with Derrick Henry the last few weeks. Derrick Henry might go for 50 yards. He might go for 250 yards. You literally do not know what's going to happen. And that's how a lot of these running backs are, unfortunately, right now. They're hit
Yep.
and miss.
Yep. All right. So I think we'll move on to the next game here. I don't think there's much more to say about that
No.
non-sexy matchup.
I'm surprised we got to talk that long about that
yeah.
matchup.
Well, it's good to give people who have those guys on their
Oh,
team
yeah,
some
for sure.
insight. But I mean, we don't want to dwell too long on it. So we have KC. We have the Chiefs at the Eagles, and let's see. The Chiefs are giving up 7 in Philly, and 83% are on that. And 94% is on the money line, Kansas City. I think that's not a surprise at all.
I think Kansas City gets right this week. I think they cover that and then
Yeah.
some. Yeah,
I would agree with that.
that Philly
Wholeheartedly.
team that's a bad football team.
It really is.
And
And it's sad.
they don't have bad pieces. It's again, I look at coaching. It's
Yeah.
the same thing we're going to talk about when we get to the Lions and Chicago game, right?
Ah.
I mean, it's coaching on that team. It's piss poor play calling and game planning that runs that team. They have playmakers on that team. They have some pieces on that team.
They're actually kind of an exciting team to watch.
They kind of are. They have some exciting players on that team.
Yeah.
If the play calling can get right and the coaching can get their heads out of their asses.
Yeah.
I think in this game, I'm not really necessarily touching this game as far as betting it. If I had to choose, Chris, I'd be with you.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah,
take
100%.
Kansas City minus the 7.
Yep.
I think the Eagles very well could get a late backdoor cover though, because they're good enough. They've showed
Yeah,
last
we're
week.
gonna go, or we're Kansas City's gonna go prevent defense.
Well, and
I wouldn't be surprised if it's not in the third quarter with the way that Philadelphia set up. Unfortunately, I could see the Eagles.
the Eagles could score some points lately.
They
They're
could
going to
go
get some
down by
garbage
3
time.
or 4 scores, and they could make those up in the late third, early fourth quarter.
Yep. And with that being said, I think that's a good team to look for garbage time points this week.
Yeah,
I think if you have Jalen Hurts, you're starting him every week right now, even in a 1-quarterback league, I believe, because he still gets points. He got points last. He didn't. The team didn't look good last week, but he still scored more than Dak Prescott.
yeah, and he's gonna turn the ball over a couple times a game. It's just going to happen with the way that team's being run right now.
I got it at 6.5 right now.
Yeah, that's ESPN's got
Really?
it 6.5.
So it's swaying towards Philly, I guess.
yeah,
Yep.
which
I think that's a lot of the public thinking there could be a backdoor cover here, in my opinion.
yeah.
So obviously you're starting your guys from Kansas City. There's not much to say there. If you have Clyde Edwards-Helaire, this would be the last week I trot him out there. If he doesn't do anything, I would put his ass on the bench. I know you drafted him in the second round, probably, maybe the third, but I mean, he's looked
Yeah,
abysmal.
I think
and
I
that
took
running
him second in my one league.
that running game looks abysmal. Like it just looks bad. I mean,
That offensive line looks bad, though.
Well, and to me, Mahomes, he looks like he's trying to be. Everyone sees him as a playmaker, right? Everyone sees him as like this improviser, right? And I feel like he's trying to improvise too much now. I feel like he's taking. I feel like it looks to me like he's taking that improviser role and just trying to do spectacular things every single play instead of just distributing the ball and taking what the defense gives you.
He looks like he did so far this year. He's looked like he did in the Super Bowl. He looks like he's trying to take it upon himself.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, with that team, you don't need to do that.
No, I mean,
and just adding Josh Gordon now, I mean, I don't think he's going to be in the lineup this week. I don't know if they said anything. But I wouldn't expect him in the lineup for at least another 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But you look at the way that team is set, like you've got studs everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, you got the best tight end in the league, best receiving tight end in the league.
Yeah.
You've got a good running
Quite
back who you're not
possibly
utilizing.
Fastest wide receiver in the league.
Yeah, the fastest. And as far as the fast guy goes, he's actually a good wide receiver. I don't
Yeah.
like the guy, but I mean he's a damn good wide receiver.
Fuck yeah, he is.
You've got a good second wide receiver in McCole Hardman, who is fast as hell as well. So it just to me it feels like he's trying too hard sometimes, and he just needs to take what's given to him.
And in fantasy-wise, obviously, if you want to look on the other side of the ball with the Eagles, Miles Sanders, I think that's a solid play today. I really do.
I don't dislike it because of the Chiefs' defense.
Right, exactly, the matchup.
They haven't. Here's another one they haven't utilized. He got 2 carries last week.
Right, that's
Two carries. Like, well, how do you give a guy like Miles Sanders 2 carries?
But that's hopefully their head coach, who frankly is a fucking idiot, but hopefully he kind of figures out like that's probably our best chance to win this game is to kind of control the clock.
Take some of the pressure off of Hurts.
Yeah, 100%.
Like you can't put the whole shebang on his fucking shoulders
Right.
in his second year when he only started like 4 games last year and expect him to just be able to take that team and carry it. Like you can't.
And if you go back historically, like Philadelphia has had great success dumping the ball off to a running back and involving them in the passing game. Jalen right now is not getting a lot of downfield opportunities. I mean, I know he keeps looking for Smith. It's just not there, unfortunately.
Definitely wasn't last week.
Right. Dump it off to the running back. Get him involved in that. Give yourself a chance at a couple of these games. Like, I love the way this team is looking right now. They're not looking good, but they're progressing in a way that I think you fix the coaching in 2 to 3 years, you're looking at something. You might not be looking at an all-world Super Bowl contender, but you have something here.
Well, and as far as the coaching goes, that's what's holding this team back. And Sirianni, he just looked completely unprepared last week. He really
has
did.
to learn how to coach or give coaching up. One of the two at
Right.
this point. Like,
yeah, it's learn on the job or give up the job, man. Because like he looked completely unprepared last week, and his team looked unprepared, given that he was unprepared. That offense was lucky to string together a couple scoring drives last week against that Dallas defense, whereas the offense should be good enough to put together scoring drives without getting lucky.
I agree.
So, I think it's not a bad idea to trot Miles Sanders out there in this matchup. It's a decent matchup. I'm afraid of the play calling splits. Like 2 carries last week, you can't have that with your stud running back. And then Jalen Hurts, you trot him out there. He's good to go every week. He's going to get you, even if they're trailing by a ton. He's going to get you garbage time points.
He's going to get stat Padford points.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All
And
right.
in all honesty, right now, that's the comparison I see for Hurts. I mean, obviously, their game's entirely different.
Right.
But right now, I'm looking at what I feel is a Matt Stafford-like player. He's got talent. He can do it. You just got to put something around him so he can.
Right.
Yeah. All right, moving on to the next matchup, we have Houston at Buffalo. Buffalo's giving up 17.5 right now.
That's big. That's huge.
Yeah, and it depends on what book you look at. This actually looks like it's fluctuating between 15.5 and 17.5.
I got 17.5 on mine.
Okay.
Yeah. We're sitting at 17.5 with 47 over-under.
Okay, and obviously 99% of the money is on Buffalo as far as the money line goes.
Oh, yeah.
It's a pretty even split as far as either giving up that 17.5 or getting that 17.5. I personally would not touch this game betting wise.
Oh, hell no. Not a spread that big.
This is a game that I would not go anywhere near.
Nope.
It's too easy for an NFL team to to keep it within reach as far as 17.
Well, I got
points.
two reasons I'm not going near this game. A, I don't bet on my teams, and
Yeah.
two, like I just that spread is way too fucking big.
It's an incredible spread. I wouldn't touch it.
And the Texans are kind of an anomaly this year. Like I usually say, by week 3, you can start to figure out what these teams are. I truly don't think we know what Houston is right
Right
now.
now, and if
They've played like the worst team in football, and they played decent football. So,
Well, and the bad part is they played decent football when Tyrod was in there. They really looked good when Tyrod was in there. I
which
can't
have
even-
you not noticed the last few years? Teams play decent with Tyrod back there.
Yeah.
He has an effect on teams on the other players on
Yeah.
offense, and he could get the job done. He just never has gotten a fair shake or stayed healthy.
No.
Or
The
kept
one-
from getting stabbed in the lung.
Yeah, the
Right,
one
yeah.
time he stayed healthy, he got stabbed in the fucking lung by his own doctor.
Yeah, I mean the Texans team. You're right. I don't know what to expect from him other than I expect that Brandon Cooks is going to have a big game every week now. He's got a 38% target share.
Yeah.
like he's averaging almost 11 targets a game. You trot him out there every fucking week now. Like if you have him on your roster, you trot him out there.
The only thing I touch on this game is the over-under, and they got it set at 47. I would take the over on that all day
Yeah.
because I think there's the opportunity that Buffalo puts up 47 all on their own.
I wouldn't be against that. It looks like it's a pretty even split as far as where the money's at right now on that over 47. But I wouldn't be against putting money on the over. Just a little dabble. I mean, Buffalo. You're right. Buffalo
Yeah.
can score 47 on their own,
And-
and Houston has proven they can score.
Right.
But I think this is the best defense they've played against so far.
If we see the Josh Allen we saw last week, I see a situation where Buffalo has no problem putting up 30, 40 points. And if Houston figures out what the hell they're doing, they can get a couple of scores.
Yeah.
And then we start talking about garbage time. You can make up points that, like, I like the over in this one. I don't usually touch over-unders on that stuff, but in this situation, it's kind of one that in my head it makes sense to me.
Now, if you're a degenerate gambler and you feel it necessary to actually bet the spread on this,
Yeah.
I would say take Houston, get the points. That
At
just
17, yeah. If any team just about is getting almost 20
that's a
points,
lot, man.
yeah.
and with that being said, I personally recommend seeking help.
Yeah, 100%.
If you feel the need to bet on this game as far as the spread goes.
yeah, absolutely. You're
And so bad. I do want to touch on. I said play Cooks, but to me, you kind of got to play him every week. But temper expectations this week. White did limit Terry McLaurin's output last week. So
Okay.
I mean, temper your expectations. But I think if you have him on your roster, you probably don't have much else as far as a wide receiver 3 goes. That's better than what he's been putting up. He gets a 38% target share, 11 targets a game. You kind of can't argue with that kind of commitment to getting him the football.
You just play the odds in that situation. When somebody's getting the ball or getting directed the ball almost 40% of
Right.
the time, that's not far from half the game.
You
Well,
got
half
to
your
kind of trot him
offensive game.
right. You got to kind of trot him out there as far as that kind of a target
Yeah.
share goes. And as far
It's
as
worth the risk.
oh, absolutely. As far as Buffalo goes, I'm playing all my guys. Honestly,
yeah.
I like them all this week. Josh Allen's probably gonna have a big game. Diggs might actually produce better points this week as far as fantasy goes.
I was going to say, he doesn't need a get-right game, but
No,
he
but-
needs a game to get going.
Well, and he needs a game for his fantasy owners to feel like they didn't waste a draft pick on him.
Right now,
he
especially.
hasn't had big output yet.
No, I agree.
He's doing what the team is requiring him to do, and he's being a good teammate. But fantasy wise, this could be a get right game for him as far as the fantasy owner looks at. And I like Zach Moss in this game. I think they're going to be up in this game. I think they play Zach Moss a little more. He's scored double-digit fantasy points the last 2 weeks. Last week he had 2 touchdowns. He out-touched Devin Singletary last week for the first time. So I think they're working him
Yeah, they
into
wanna
more
get
of
him
that
going.
more of that lead back role, more of a less of a committee as far as that goes, and more sided towards Moss. I would play him this week. I actually am playing him in 2 of my leagues this week. I put him in the starting lineup because I like the matchup. I like how much they're giving him the ball now. So, as far as that goes, maybe an outside guy is Emmanuel Sanders.
maybe.
Emmanuel
Yeah.
Sanders. He's turned out to be a pretty good number 2 there.
No, I agree with you.
You notice everywhere he goes, he ends up being reliable.
Yeah, he is.
He's nothing flashy. He's nothing spectacular. Like, he was what he was in Denver. I'm not taking away from the career he had in Denver. He had a nice career. But everywhere he has gone, he has just been reliable.
Because he wants to win.
And when it comes to a receiver, like, that's the best thing to have.
Yeah.
When we talk about the Browns, Jarvis Landry. I get that OBJ is the name and everything. You get a guy like Landry, you get a guy like Sanders. Those are just, they're so important to a team. For the Detroit fans, it's like Golden Tate was to Matt Stafford at one point.
Or even, even Anquan Bolden. When he
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
Anquan Bolden, I think, was like the prototypical, like, that's a dude you need.
Yeah.
That's a dude you win
He just
with.
makes plays.
That's
You're
a dude
looking
you
for
win
somebody
with.
to get you 10 on a third down.
Yep.
That's who you go to.
He'll actually run to the fucking sticks
Yep.
and get you 10.
And I know he's getting older, but he's a guy that once we get into the fantasy season, he may not be the nicest guy to have right now, but when we get into it, he's going to be a guy you want just kind of stashed on your roster because later in the season, he's going to put up points.
I agree with that, and he's kind of started to come around more. The more he plays with Josh Allen, the more it looks like he's getting that rapport with him. Scored well last week with him. I think you kind of maybe got to wait and see on him, but he's worth a sleeper play today, I believe.
Yeah.
We did have a comment on the Twitch here that I didn't notice, and they said, "Wait, Chicago has a coach."
Yes, Andrew, Chicago has a coach.
So
Joe's new public enemy number one.
yeah, Adam Nagy. And I know that's not his name, but I'm going to call him that forever. Next matchup, Carolina at Dallas. Carolina's getting...
You're one of the few people I know who can fuck a name up and just commit to the fuck
Yeah,
up
like
from
this-
here
this-
on out.
this-
Absolutely. well, because there's a commitment. I fucked it up because I hate him so much. He's such a bad coach, like Adam Gase.
Right, no,
that
I know.
The fuck up just kind of works, and I'm just going to roll with it.
But that's the thing. Like, there's people who fuck up and they just make it a point to make sure they're correct every other time they say it. And some people just own the fact they fucked it up, and they're like, "Hey, guess what? I'm calling him Adam now."
Yep, he's forever going to be Adam Nagy to me. He doesn't deserve to be called by his actual first name. That abomination he put out there last week. Anyway, Carolina at Dallas +4 for Carolina, and it looks like 73% of the money is on Dallas money line, which I don't see any problem with that. I kind of agree with that. Carolina is actually has 55% of the bets on getting 4 points. So any thoughts on this game as far as betting goes? The over-under is 51.5 on this. Looks like it's an even split as far as that goes.
I love Carolina with the 4 points.
I kind of do too.
Yeah, I was going to go with you guys on that too. But this is a game that Carolina kind of has to prove that they're for real.
Yeah, and I agree
it
with
is.
that. That it's time, and I'm biting on them.
Yeah.
I picked up that defense. I threw that defense in my fantasy league. They're the number 5 defense right now in most leagues. The Cowboys' offense is what it is. Yes, Dak is looking a lot better. He's looking healthy. He's looking like he can play. That team has kind of gotten it together. I definitely expect them to be the playoff team out of that division. But at the end of the day, I think that Panthers defense might actually be something that you're going to have to worry about.
I would definitely take the over in this game, though, too.
At 51 and a
I
half,
would take
yeah,
the over. I would
agree
absolutely
with
take
that.
the over in this game.
It kind of scares me because both offenses have been good, but both defenses have too. That's why I would shy away from that personally. But I don't see. Like, I understand why you can see the over in this game because both offenses have been clicking, right?
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
they both can score points, especially
And
Dallas.
it's an offensive league, man.
It really is. It really is. I look at this and I would be. I just say I'm scared. I would be scared to take that only for the simple fact that both defenses have looked so good.
But I think you can also rely on I wouldn't put money on this, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Dallas and Carolina both put up defensive scores in this game.
That's true.
I can see it,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
Like
true.
those
actually.
those defenses
Like a pick six,
are
something like that,
I could definitely see it happening. Dak.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
you
in
look at-
Dak's game. He makes some risky throws
Well,
sometimes.
you look at Philadelphia last week. Philadelphia got a
Yep.
defensive touchdown, and
And-
they're not even that good of a
and
defense.
Let's call it like it is. Carolina's got Sam Darnold, and I know he's played better, and I know he's looked like an entirely different quarterback, but he's still Sam Darnold at the end of the day.
Yeah, to me he's looked damn good, and to me he looks like the Sam Darnold that I beginning of the season I told you guys I'm like I believe you're going to see a different Sam Darnold
And
in,
it has
in
been.
Carolina.
But
and again,
he's
it's
still
the,
Sam Darnold.
It's the Adam Gase effect, right? I mean, it's still a Sam Darnold that went out.
hard to
and-
argue it.
It's the Sam Darnold that went out and lit up the Lions in like his first career game, right? And I mean, I know other guys do that, and we might be talking about one later on today. But when it comes down to when it
Not
comes
a
down
chance.
to it, it's the Adam Gase effect, right? I mean, players and teams move on from Adam Gase and they win and they look good. It's just the way it kind of goes, and I saw that coming for him personally. I'm not saying he looks like a world beater.
Right.
I'm not saying he looks like he's going to be, Tom Brady 2.0, but he looks competent. He looks like a starting NFL quarterback.
He looks like
Finally.
a guy who may be in a Tannehill type situation.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
He
a perfect
just-
example.
Just came into the league with a real shit hand and had to fold it and just restart.
Yeah, that's a very good comparison. DJ Moore, for
Yeah.
me, I start him every week.
Yep. Yeah.
Right? I mean, he's looked damn good. Him and Sam Darnold look like they have a rapport that everybody thought Robbie Anderson was going to have with Sam Darnold from New York. And
him and Robbie have actually
Robbie
looked
looks
okay.
bad. Robbie looks bad.
Really?
Oh, my God, he looks bad.
I haven't got to watch much of Carolina, I will say that. But week 1, I thought him and Robbie
Well,
actually looked like they had it.
That was the only week where they looked like they
Okay.
had it. But it was like the one long touchdown to Robbie.
Yep.
And then since then, they have looked so off. It's been ridiculous. And I think Robbie's dropped like 5 passes.
Oh, damn.
His concentration looks off. Sam Darnold doesn't look as good throwing the ball to him as he does to his other receivers. I think Terrence Marshall might unseat him as the number 2 pretty soon, to be
Yikes.
honest with you. Chuba Hubbard in this game, I really do like him in this game, taking over for CMC. I think he's going to get a lot of work in this game.
I agree with that.
Other side of the ball, you play Amari, you play CeeDee Lamb, you play Dak Prescott. I would feel okay trotting out if you have Dalton Schultz as a tight end.
Yeah.
I might feel okay with him this week because he showed last week. Listen, it might be an anomaly last week, but I believe he's had like 4 targets in every game so far.
I think it's going to be an emerging weapon for Dak.
Yeah,
really do.
and I think they're going to take Gallup isn't there, right? So they need somebody else besides Cooper and CeeDee Lamb, right? So
Yep.
Dalton Schultz, so I stumble over his name. Looks like he might become another weapon for Dak to go to. He looks like he can run crisp routes. He looks good after the catch, run after the catch. He looks like he could become another weapon on that team. Temper expectations. He's not going to have 2 touchdowns and 6 catches for 80 yards every week.
No, he's
But-
not going to get you monster numbers.
Right, but I mean, as a tight end in a league where you've got like 3 or 4, and then the rest are all kind of crapshoots, I think you could do worse than Dalton Schultz this week.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And right now, fantasy football wise, you need a tight end. If you have the top 3, maybe 4 guys, you're solid.
Yeah.
Outside of that, right now, there is no 5 through 10. You're just kind of shuffling the deck. So to stash a guy like Dalton Schultz, I'm not saying that he's going to end up being Jason Witten for Dak, but he might see the ball a lot more than you're expecting.
Yeah, and if he gets 4, 5, 6 targets a game, that could produce you some points on that offense, and it's all about opportunity. And I think today he's going to have some opportunity on that in that game. He showed last week when he gets the opportunity, he can produce. Anything else you guys got on this, boys? I think Sam Darnold's a deep throw as far as like a 2 quarterback league. I wouldn't mind playing him this week against that Dallas team that they're going to have to. It's going to be a shootout, I think.
And that's why I'm
Unless the
taking
defenses actually do show up.
That's
which
why
I
I'm
said
taking
could
the
happen.
over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be. It could be a shootout. So I think you could do worse with playing him.
I'm counting on the defenses to actually show up, but I'd still ride the over with you on that one, Chris.
Yep.
Just because both those defenses have the potential to put up points as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting one. Actually, I'm on Twitter right now, and I'm
Yeah.
going through, and there's the FanDuel Sportsbook, one of their boosts for today, and I saw it, and first thought after we had talked about the Bills game, I went, no, I stay away from that. But then I look at the odds. We've got the Bucks, the Bills, and the Titans to cover, and it's at plus 750. That might be worth touching.
The Bucks are about a 7-point spread, I think. Bills are 17.5. And what was the other one?
You're looking Titans.
Bills is what's going to lose you that one.
And that's what I'm saying, though. But at a plus 750, if you threw $10 on it,
Yeah, I mean it's not a bad play for $10. Just I wouldn't count on getting that $10 back. Those boosts always scare me because they always throw one team.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
always the one game.
There's
that
always
you question.
one. Yeah, there's always one team in there that you're like,
Yep.
well, I mean, it's worth a shot.
And that's what I'm saying. If
For $10?
Yeah, if you're throwing 10,
Why not?
$20 on it,
Yep.
those boosts are worth playing.
Yep.
And who knows? Buffalo can very well win that game by 20.
So
Who
is
knows?
FanDuel?
But
Yeah, FanDuel's got that. That would be McAfee's Super Boost.
Nice. Yeah, I might look into that after the show here.
Okay.
$10. Fuck it, why not?
and for $10,
And that's kind of how I looked at it.
Yeah.
Like, you're looking at plus 750. That's a great payoff. Wow, Joe breaking shit over here.
I want to break my
My
baker.
Baker coaster.
Yeah, you know, some of those boosts, like, I know they're funny.
Yeah.
But some of them, you just get these weird feelings
Yeah.
about, and it's like, hey, that's entirely fucking possible. And
Well, I will
with
tell
a
you, I've hit-
payout like that,
I've hit some boosts lately. Actually, I've done pretty well on boosts lately.
some of those boosts,
just gotta- you
you
just
were
gotta-
absolutely right. Some of those boosts, you get a team in there like Buffalo in this situation, you're
Yeah.
like, this is the one they throw this in just to fuck you.
Yeah.
You gotta be wise with playing the boosts. Some of the boosts
Some
pay
of
off,
those
and some of
boosts
them are
are-
set up for you to lose because
Yeah.
they're pushing it out there for you to just lose some money on. Other ones are worth taking. You just got to be smart about it. But like you said, $10.
Why not?
Who
Yeah.
fucking cares for $10?
Right.
Throw $10 out there. You have a chance to win. You know, was it plus 750? You said.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah. So I mean that's good odds in throwing $10 out on a crapshoot.
No doubt.
Next game we have Cleveland at Minnesota.
Let's basically pick them.
Yeah, it's well, I still have Cleveland -1.
That's what I got to.
Basically a pick 'em.
Yeah.
Depending on what book you look at, I believe it is between -1 and a pick 'em. 56% of the money is on Cleveland with the -1. 54% is on them with the money line, which is weird. I'll be honest with you, I really like Cleveland in this game.
Yeah, I do too.
This is
I know it's a homer pick for me, but
we talk about same old Lions. Everybody talks about same old Lions. This is going to be same old Kirk Cousins. I think Kirk Cousins is absolutely just going to shit the fucking bed today.
I hope he does.
I'm 100% on board with that. Yes.
Like, it's time. It's
Yeah.
been a couple of okay games that he's played. He's due to have just a dog shit game.
Yeah.
And Cleveland, in all honesty, not that they've been a bad team, but they need a little kick in the ass. And I
they need to
think
get right.
I think if you just go out and abuse Kirk Cousins today, that's gonna be that's
Yeah.
good. That's gonna be what you need to get right.
I'll definitely take the Browns late in the one.
Yeah.
I think they win this game by at the very least a field goal. So
I would agree with that. I think I actually have put money on the Browns in this game. They're one of the teams that I did select to actually lay some dollars down on. And then looking at the way the game plays out, I mean, neither defenses look very good, right? I mean, we can say that Cleveland was supposed to have a better defense coming into the year.
I mean, Cleveland's defense last week looked pretty fucking good.
Well, how much was that? How much of that was Adam Nagy? As
No, I
opposed to,
get it, but I mean, you still got to execute, and they did.
Yeah. Well, listen, I mean, Myles Garrett had 4.5 sacks. Jadeveon Clowney had 2. I mean, it was basically like,
Yeah.
hey, tag, you're it at the quarterback.
You think you could talk to your guys, and I'll talk on behalf of my guys, and we can just get Clowney for the weekend for the Lions?
We'll see what we can do.
Just for the weekend. Like, we'll bring him back to you tonight. Hopefully still intact. But
Well, I
know,
mean, we
I
kinda,
know I call the Lions win. I'm standing by that, but we could use a little help.
Well, I think Cleveland can use a little help in this game too, though. Looking at how this is going to play out, I actually do like Minnesota's offense in this game. I think you could do worse than playing whichever running back starts. If Delvin Cook starts, you're playing him. If he doesn't start,
Yeah,
I think you have to.
He's playing.
Yeah. Oh, is he playing?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's in.
So you play him, and I actually like Kirk Cousins in this game. I understand where you're coming from, Frank, and the same old Kirk Cousins. I actually do like him in this game, though, as far as that passing attack goes. I think this could be a shootout. I really think this could be a shootout. This is an over-under at 51.5 as well. And basically you're saying that both teams are going to score about 27 points because it's a pick 'em game. So both teams are expected to score in this game.
Yeah.
I like both offenses. I think Odell's a sneaky play today. I think I think he got like 10 targets last week. They're still without Landry.
Better enjoy him while you can until Jarvis gets back.
Yeah, I mean he's still he got 10 targets. Landry's still out, and they're going to need him. They're going to need Peoples-Jones as well. You play your guys. And
That's
of course,
that's a sneaky play for me is Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Peoples-Jones.
Yes.
Listen, he could be a great DFS play
Yep.
because he's cheap and you could spend up at other positions.
He's what? He's there 2 or there 3?
He's there too.
He's there 2.
Yeah.
You look at the backfield. You got Peterson on him this week, then.
Which, I mean, Peterson's not the same Peterson.
No,
you know?
he's definitely lost a step.
Yeah.
But
Well, you look at that defense for Minnesota, and the game for Cleveland starts at the run game, right? It starts with Nick Chubb and
Absolutely.
an offensive line, right? And then it branches out from there to Kareem Hunt. As
yeah,
well.
if Chubb's going and then you can get Hunt going, I don't see anybody being able to touch Cleveland.
And Minnesota's ranked number 27 against the rush, DVOA. So like it's you're
not a pretty defense.
yeah,
which
you're-
is weird because they're generally good against the run.
right?
They
And you're
always
looking
do
at a
great with
game
that
where
front 7.
you're looking at a game where not only could this be a shootout, but you can have your guys like Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. You trot them out there with no problem because
Did you just call it a shootout?
shootout. Did I call it a shootout?
It sounded like you said a shootout.
It could be a shootout. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those games where I think you're starting all your guys on these teams. Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Kirk Cousins. There's nobody you're going to sit in this game. And I think it could be a good game for all of them. Obviously, you can't predict that every week, but I think this could be a decent game for everybody involved, truthfully.
This is very strange. You know, before we went on, you had asked me to keep an eye on Schefter with all the ins and outs for today.
Yeah. Yep.
We're at almost 11:15. Nothing's being reported.
Wait until about 11:30.
I know it usually starts getting heavy about 11:30,
Yeah,
but
but
about
usually there's
11
something.
o'clock you start seeing it. Not seeing anything. So
Hmm.
I'm wondering if some of these teams are going to start
Well, and
stalling out and waiting.
Well, and Dalvin's one of those guys I wanted you to keep an eye on because
Right.
that's a big question mark, right?
gonna
He was
play.
Right.
Oh, he's already been confirmed to
Well, what I'm looking at, it says expected to play.
Yeah, he's expected.
He's
Okay.
more than likely going to play.
play. Okay.
Lamar, same thing. Jonathan Taylor, same thing. Expected to play, expected to play, expected
Okay.
to play. Melvin Gordon, expected to play. Tyler Lockett, expected to play.
The only thing that scares me with Cook is he was basically expected to play last week up until you announced that Adam Schefter said he wasn't playing.
Right.
So it was like we kind of learned on the air last week that Dalvin Cook was not playing because they said all along, even though he didn't practice all week, that he was set to play, and then all of a sudden was not. That's what scares me. These teams are getting a lot sneakier with what they're putting out there throughout the week.
And this is per Schefter that Dalvin Cook is
Oh, is it?
expected to play.
Awesome.
Okay.
So that's
Yeah,
so
he
that's
doesn't
good.
even have that right now
Yeah.
on even one of the recent ones on his Twitter. So if you found that, that's from
So that's good.
That's that's before you could even post it on Twitter.
So there you go. So that's this next game has a guy that I'm looking at as well that is questionable. Was limited participant in practice all week, and that's Indianapolis at Miami. And Indianapolis is getting 2.5 in this game. Looks like it's a split between who's got more money on them there. But Indianapolis, oddly enough, has more money on them on the money line. 66% of the money is on Indianapolis with the money line in this game where they're at Miami getting 2.5.
Give me the Colts.
Really?
I'm not sure what the fuck the Dolphins are doing. I really don't.
I don't think they know what they're doing.
Like, that team they have, like, no identity of, like, what. I don't know what you're trying to do here.
Well, and that the thing is, they're also playing against the Colts, who,
Right.
again, have no fucking identity.
It's weird.
They've
I was
taken
gonna
such
say,
a step back.
Is Wentz playing? Is he healthy, or does he still got 2 sprained ankles? Does he have what the hell's going on with him now?
I think he's in a wheelchair. He's gonna start in a wheelchair.
Okay,
But
it still might be the best option they have, but
this is one of those games where I look at it. It's got to be a get right game for Jonathan Taylor in that running game, right? I mean, he's
You would
averaging
think so.
He's averaging 4.1 yards a carry, but he hasn't scored a touchdown yet. He hasn't had a 100-yard game yet. They're not using him
I was gonna say
efficiently.
he's got 4.1 yards per carry, but how many carries has he had?
Exactly. I don't have the numbers right in
Averaging
front of me,
about
but
15 a game, maybe.
maybe at that. And these are two offenses that really don't have an identity. And I know
He's got 42 carries on the season, total of 171 total yards.
yeah, it's not good. It hasn't looked good. It's got to be a get right game for him. And that rushing attack, I actually would take Miami in this game if I had to, gun to my head. If I had to pick, I would take Miami in this game, even giving up to 2.5. I just don't trust that Colts team. I picked them at the beginning of the year to win that division, and honestly, I've been completely wrong with that fucking team. Completely wrong. Because even without the quarterback issues,
And 2 is out, right?
yeah, two is out.
Two is out,
Brissett's starting, but even without Wentz in there, whoever's going to be playing quarterback, they've gone away from their identity, which is running the football.
Right.
Yeah.
And that offensive line has not looked very good.
And one thing that always makes me nervous, and Joe, you'll definitely be able to tell me this for sure. Chris, maybe you can even. Quarterbacks playing their ex-teams, man. That defense is not all that different.
Revenge.
No, it's not even the revenge thing. It's the fact in this situation that Indy's defense knows how Jacoby Brissett plays. They know what he likes, what he doesn't like. They know what looks he likes.
Vice versa, though, Brissett knows
Yeah,
that defense.
Right, and that's in
And-
this situation. If we're talking night game and we're talking Tom Brady, yeah, I absolutely believe he's going to go into New England and fucking carve New England's defense up. In this situation, though, Jacoby Brissett is not.
Tom Brady?
I was trying to think of a nice way to say he's just not that talented.
And he's not. And he's
not a terrible quarterback. He's definitely an NFL quarterback. He's fine as a backup. I'd argue maybe he's even a third stringer, but as a backup, he's putting up okay numbers. He's doing all right with Miami. But in this game, I just look at a defense like Indy's, and
See,
I
look at this.
I like the defense more than I like the quarterback. And
Yeah.
I think the defense is better than the quarterback. I guess that's where it's
Yeah,
at.
no, and I completely understand you. I tend to lean in the opposite direction of revenge games, and that's just me. That's just how I've been over the years. Revenge games to me, I always look at playing a player going against a team that let him go, and more times than not, it kind of tends to be where that it literally is a revenge game.
Yeah.
and they go out there and put up some numbers. And I don't necessarily think that Brissett's going to put up huge numbers today, so don't take that into account. I wouldn't even play him today, to be honest with you. I'm just saying, I do like Miami in this game.
No, I firmly believe
as much as
he's
both teams don't have an identity.
32 of 32
Yeah,
right now.
as much as both teams don't have an identity,
No, they don't.
I question Indianapolis' identity more and their identity crisis more.
Okay.
You know, it's 6 in one, half a dozen in the other. But me personally, I just lean in one direction on this one. I don't play anybody in this game, to be honest with you, other than Jonathan Taylor. Nobody.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Nobody.
Just when it comes to the identity, I look at it and go, okay, you know what you have with Jacoby Brissett.
Very much so.
We're still trying to figure out what we have in Carson Wentz, which
Chris isn't. Chris knows what you have on Carson Wentz.
Did you see how quick his head turned when I said that? He was like, huh? You're still trying to figure this out?
Chris knows exactly who Carson Wentz is in his mind.
That dude is trash.
He is a tale of two different quarterbacks at times, is what I was getting at.
Yeah.
Sometimes he looks competent, and sometimes he looks like Carson Wentz.
Well, and talk about another coaching debacle. Frank Reich, for some reason, has taken a step back this year with that Indianapolis team. Like for some reason, he hasn't been able to get that run game going again. Like last year, they ended the year on that run game was their power.
Yep.
That was them, and they just haven't utilized that. I don't know whether the offensive line is just not good enough, and he doesn't trust them, or what. But it's that they just.
Or maybe he's just trying to get Carson Wentz going again.
And that could be.
That's what I was wondering.
That could
if he
be.
just put everything into getting
I think that's a
Wentz
stupid
going.
game plan.
I agree with you. I think
much
it's an incredibly stupid game plan.
As much as I back the fact that I think Philadelphia ruined Carson Wentz and it wasn't necessarily him, I think that's a stupid game plan. If in week 4 you're going to continue to try to get Carson Wentz going as opposed to running the football down people's throats with Jonathan Taylor.
Which in turn would actually make it easier for Carson Wentz to get his game back.
Exactly.
But
So anyway, all right. Well, so we're going to move on to the next non-sexy matchup is Tennessee at the Jets.
not sexy at all.
Jets, Jets, not sexy.
No.
Cincinnati. Tennessee is -6 in this game. 84% of the money is on that. 91% of the money is on them to win the game outright. Over-unders at 44.5. I'll be honest with you. I don't touch this game.
Nope.
I don't touch it with your money. I'm just not doing it. This could easily be a game where the Jets take advantage of injuries on Tennessee because they have neither one of their starting wide receivers playing. And they could take advantage of that fact and actually stay in this game a little bit, or like last year, win a game they shouldn't, or win 2 games they shouldn't. This might be a game where everybody expects them not to win because it's Tennessee, despite the fact they're missing 2 wide receivers.
Is there like a prop
and-
bet to see how many interceptions Zach Wilson throws?
I'm sure there is, actually.
We need to find that.
I'm sure there is.
Like set at 2 or something.
I think it would be set at 2.5 probably. I'm just not touching this game as far as betting goes. I wouldn't go near this game.
Nope, I'm with you on that one.
On to the next one.
Yeah. As far as fantasy goes,
Derrick Henry.
I think Derrick Henry. I wouldn't touch Tannehill in this game because he's
You
got no wide
play your
receivers.
must plays.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, for DFS, Chester Rogers and Westbrook, Ickheim or whatever his name is, are dart throws for spending less on guys and being able to spend up on other positions. You could do worse dart throws than those two guys because they're taking over for Julio Jones and A.J. Brown. On the other side of the ball, I play nobody but probably Corey Davis. And just because they're probably going to have to throw most of the game. And honestly, that defense for Tennessee doesn't look very good. Corey Davis, I haven't, other than the first week, I haven't really suggested playing him again.
For good reason.
Yeah, but this week, I am playing him in 2 leagues. I'm playing him as my third wide receiver, and I think you could do worse as a third wide receiver than to throw Corey Davis out there against this Tennessee defense that I think New York is going to have to throw most of the game.
All right, then let me propose this to you. Since we're talking about playing Corey Davis, let me bring up my team here. What would we do in a situation where we have Hubbard, Woods? I'll go through and give you all the options, but Woods, Galladay, Connor, Singletary, Pittman, Corey Davis.
I play Corey Davis over all those guys other than Robert Woods and Chuba Hubbard.
Okay, Hubbard's the one that I have in right now.
Yeah.
So
I would play Hubbard over those guys, yes.
on the other, because Davis is a guy I've actually got stashed on my bench in the one league, and in our league, I have him on my short bench. Right now, I have Jacobs penciled in. He's questionable. I don't know that he's going to play.
I would play. I'll look into it further when we get to the game. I think I would lean Davis over Jacobs.
And then Mike Williams.
Oh, Mike Williams.
Well, it's 2 flex spots.
Oh, yeah. So Mike Williams and Corey Davis.
Okay.
That would be where I would lean.
I'm waiting to see what Jacobs is going to do, but
well, and the
maybe
bad
I'll
thing,
listen
the
to you
bad
this
thing
week.
is the bad thing is you won't know until game time on Monday night, really. So
yeah, that's true.
You've got a
They're
decision to
1
make
o'clock
before then.
start. I fucking hate those.
Yeah.
But I picked up Ruggs just in case that was the situation, so that way if Jacobs
Smart
didn't play,
play.
I could throw in Ruggs.
That's a decent play. Next matchup is your Detroit Lions traveling to Chicago to take on the Bears. The Bears. Bears are -3 in this game still, it looks like. Some books have them at -2.5.
Hey, fuck it. I like the Lions outright, but I'll take the 3 points.
And that's where public money's at right now. Is 74% is on Detroit getting the 3, 77 is on Detroit money line. And I will tell you, this is one of Danny Wise's picks for the week. He has 3 units on the Bears, giving up 3.
Okay.
And I be honest with you, I lean in that direction as well. As much as Adam Nagy is a back alley abortion of a coach, and he left his rookie quarterback out there to dry last week, I believe this week.
There's no way you can do it 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah. There was too much backlash last week, and honestly, to me personally, I look at this game, and I hope it's the case. This is one of the games where I might root for Detroit, because if Chicago loses this game,
He's fine.
they might actually drag him out of there with the
Yeah.
hood over the head, like I
Yep.
suggested last week.
Yeah.
So I think this is a game where he almost has to win.
Yep.
So I think he'll game plan for Fields. And this is one of those games where, and I know it's me looking at history, and this is not the same Lions team, but history shows us rookies, quarterbacks that shouldn't necessarily do well against teams.
Looks like an all-pro, baby.
They look amazing against the Detroit Lions. And to be honest with you, I look at this game and I just go, man, I can see that happening. I can see Justin Fields going out there with an actual game plan from Adam fucking Nagy that is actually geared towards him, as opposed to that back alley abortion of a play calling they had last week. And he could actually look like a starting quarterback in the NFL.
I'm actually going to go with Dan on this one as well. I'm also taking the Bears, laying the 3. Whenever it comes to betting the Lions, it's whatever you think you should do.
Just don't do it.
Well, yes, but whatever,
That too.
because I want to take the Lions here. I really do, but I can't.
I do too. You know why? Because I really want to see him get fired.
Like I just physically can't.
It was
do
funny. Even last week, though, with yours and Dan's advice with the Baltimore game, my brother who was listening did the total opposite. He said, "You know what? I'm hammering Baltimore, the point, everything." Fucking, he lost.
I say, how'd that work out for him?
Yeah, like even when you bet on the Lions to lose,
Yeah.
they still fuck you.
Exactly.
Like I just don't ever bet on the Lions.
Never.
That being said, though,
just don't bet on a Lions game. Period. Honestly, if you live in Detroit, but for me, if I would lean in this game, I would take Chicago, and I actually did put some money on Chicago minus the 3 in this game.
Nice.
You know where I've been.
Yeah.
You know where I'm staying.
Oh, I know.
It is
I
what
know.
it is.
Which is why if it does, listen, I'll be happy either way. Because honestly, I think if Detroit wins, the Nagy's gone, and I'll be happy.
I
Because
don't know
that guy
if he's
deserves.
gone this week, but I think you are one loss away from him getting fired.
I think this is a loss.
This will be the one that does.
I think
it.
this is a loss.
Yeah,
Hey,
this will be
it's
the one that does
possible.
I really do. I think Detroit is regarded as a team that they need to win against. It's
It's hard for me to sit here and justify anybody getting fired over Urban Meyer right now, but
what you know.
I think Uncle Herb's got some bigger problems to worry about right now.
Uncle Herb was.
I'd
was
like some of
partying.
those problems though.
Fair enough.
But yeah, no, I think it's. I think this is the game where he gets fired if he doesn't win, right? I mean, you on the same page, Chris, with that?
100%. I think that if they lose, he's gone.
I would.
They can't ignore it any longer. They can't.
They can't. And this is the game where he has to. Like his back is against the wall in this.
Oh
game.
yeah, 100%. It's a must win.
Which is why I think that game plan drastically changes from last week, where he basically just dangled his quarterback out there like that dollar from the fucking commercial, and he's like, "Oh, got $1."
Ooh, interesting question. What kind of team do you guys think Detroit will be when they actually play in all 4 quarters?
I've never seen a Detroit team that actually plays in all 4 quarters.
No, I'm with you on that.
So I can't answer that. And honestly, I still don't trust the head coach. I don't dislike the rest of their moves. And Dan, thank you for listening, bud. Miss you, brother. Hope you're doing well. I don't trust that head coach. As much as I didn't trust Matt Patricia, and I called for his head from day one. This is another one where some of the in-game coaching and some of the in-game preparedness, I just don't see it there.
Yeah.
And some of the other moves Detroit has made, I've really liked, and I like a lot of the other things they've done. That's the one glaring aspect where I think it will be their downfall.
And we talked about this on Tuesday, like how he coached that game against Baltimore. You know, with all the bravado and all this bullshit that he came into the season with, and you coached like a pussy.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I don't trust Dan Campbell. I just don't. Period.
And until he gives us a reason to, we don't have a reason
He
to. But
really is a guy who's going to have to earn his respect in this league.
He's not off to a great start by doing the shit he was doing.
Giving you every reason to not respect him.
Yeah, and that's factual. Because like I said, when he came here and with all the bullshit that he was doing, I'm just like, nah, dude, you ain't it. You ain't the guy.
And from what I've read, I know you can read all different sorts of things, but players in the league are buying into his bullshit.
And that's fine. And that's, again, there's a shelf life for that, though.
Right.
You know?
And ultimately, players will back you as long as you are successful.
Right.
So,
but you can't come in.
You got to start winning at some point.
You do.
In order for that to continue.
But you can't come in with that type of attitude and then coach the complete opposite, you know?
yeah.
And players see that. They're like, well,
and not to mention, it's not even just about winning and losing right now with this team, because obviously you look at them on paper, they're not very good, right?
Right.
And I think he's gotten some good things out of them as far as that rah sis boom bah bullshit, right? The team has played hard in certain areas and at certain times.
This should
of the
be
game.
a much worse team than they've played in 2 of the 3
Right.
weeks.
So I mean, there's been, but again, back to what Dan said here in the messages is them not playing all 4 quarters, and that's the thing. He hasn't been able to get that mentality for all 4 quarters out of him. He's gotten it for a quarter or a half, and that can only take you so far, and it can only get you so much in a game. Whereas you have to bring to the table actual coaching ability. And to me, I've yet to see that. And maybe he will. Maybe he will prove me wrong. Until he does, I'm sticking to that.
fantasy-wise, though, DeAndre Swift, if he plays, I think it's
Yes, I think DeAndre Swift I play every week now.
Yeah,
he's proven
moved
he gets
into
the
my
touches.
must play.
I think he's gonna have a big week.
I think he's going to have a big week. T.J. Hawkinson is a must play every week,
Yep.
even though he had a down week last week.
In all
Listen,
honesty, he's
your
my
guy.
number 3 tight end overall.
He's there for me too. Yeah, I agree with that. He's moved ahead of Andrews.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, Jamal Williams is another one that if I have him as a number 2 running back or as a flex, I'm playing him.
I use him as a flex all day long.
Yeah, he's getting the touches. They're splitting the work between the two, and it's actually working out very well for both
And
of
the
them.
O-line is looking like we had all hoped the O-line would look.
They took a little bit of a step back last
Yeah,
week.
they did.
As did Panay Sewell, who is, listen, he's a 20-year-old rookie, so he's going to take a step back, right? He's not going to look like the unicorn at all.
Oh, no, he didn't look all-world
Right.
last week.
Right. So I mean, I think people lost their minds over that a little bit, but they do look good, and that run game has looked pretty decent, and both those backs are getting passes out of the backfield. They're getting their points. I would play both those guys. Swift is more of a starter than Williams. Williams is more of a number 2 or a flex.
Yeah, like I said, I love him in the flex spot. Number 2 is a question mark. Guy I'm playing against this week in one of my leagues is actually running him out as his number 2. So actually, I'm gonna double check this. It might have been his number 1 with Patterson actually being his number 2.
Ooh.
Yeah, you're in a bad way if that's your running back duo. But
Yeah. Speaking of running backs in this one, I don't play anybody on the other side of the ball other than Montgomery. I think Montgomery has a big game today against that line.
I think Robinson will have a decent game. I do.
I can't trust that passing attack right now. I sit
I know.
him until I see it because
I'm not saying he's going to go off.
Right, but he's been one of the better receivers in the league
Yep.
that hasn't gotten what he deserves because of that offensive play calling and again Adam Nagy. But
this is the game that I see him.
this is the game you see him doing well in, and
I do.
I can't argue that.
I do.
I can't argue that. I personally would sit him until I see it, but I can't argue that this is one of those games where you could see it.
yeah, he is playing Williams as his 1.
Ouch.
Yeah,
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that.
sucks for him. But
Would not want to do that.
he had CMC, and I picked up Hubbard. So.
Yeah.
But speaking of CMC, Schefter just retweeted this from David Newton. He is not playing today, but he has made the trip to Dallas. So he is staying with the team, and they're thinking he could work his way in next week. Most likely 2 weeks out, though.
Yeah, which is we kind of talked about.
He's actually doing the pregame routine. He's going through. He's doing his stretches and everything. So he's working with the team. There's a good chance he plays next week, but definitely in 2 weeks, I would say.
And I think we talked about it before we went on the air. I'm not sure whether we talked about it on the air or not, but it's one of those things where if they saw him being out more than 3 weeks, they would have put him on IR.
Oh yeah,
because they could have brought him back after 3 weeks. It's one of those things where the grade strain of the hamstring, they looked at it and saw that it wouldn't be 3 weeks. They're looking at more like 1 or 2, more than likely 2, which is why they kept him off of IR. So I think the prognosis for him is good if you're a CMC owner. It's not good for you if you look at his injury history in the last 2 years and you think, man, if he comes back, he could get hurt again. But it's on this front with this injury, it's okay news for you as a CMC owner that he could be back next week or the week after.
and he's such an important part of that offense, though.
He really is.
Even 80% CMC, I run out there over anybody else that they have. So
Yeah.
if he can go at 75-80% next week, I mean, he's a lock in your fantasy lineup, no doubt. But
Absolutely.
I still think he's more than feasible at that percentage.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't think there's anybody else really to go over in this game. Excuse me. Yeah, I think we've gone over everybody. Next matchup we have here is Washington at Atlanta. Washington's given up 1.5. Looks like 65% of the money's on Washington giving up that 1.5. Over-under's at 47.5. And it looks like money line is about 60% picking Washington.
This over-under could be at 14. I wouldn't touch it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I do take Washington this game minus the 1.5, though. I love that pick this week. Despite Atlanta being at home, I think Washington is a good enough team that Atlanta just looks fucking awful.
That defense, if it's going to come alive this year, needs this week to, I'm going to say fuck up Matt Ryan, but that's not what's going to actually happen. But they need this week to, as we've said numerous times with a few teams, get right. This Washington defense does not look like it did last year. It is.
And it doesn't
I'm not
look
going
like
to say
we
the
expected it to
polar
this year.
opposite, but it's been very disappointing. And this Falcons offense is pretty much exactly what everybody thought it was going to be. So if they are as bad as they say they are, or everybody says they are, Washington's defense could have a game.
It couldn't. And Atlanta hasn't looked good on offense. Like, they haven't gotten Calvin Ridley involved as much as he needs to be. They haven't gotten Pitts going. Pitts was supposed to be this unicorn coming in, and they've done nothing with him.
And I've got him on one of my fantasy teams, and I'm sitting here 3 weeks in, and I'm like, I got to make a call. I got to drop this dude soon.
Either that or slide him to your bench and hope and
Well,
pray.
it's in our 3-spot league.
Yeah, so in that case, you can't slide him to the bench.
A guy who hasn't done shit, he's not worth being on my bench.
No, and not with 3 bench spots. But yeah,
Right.
it's one of those choices where you're like, man, are they ever going to fucking utilize him? Are they ever going to do something with him? And that's that offense just looks really bad. And Matt Ryan looks
old.
Old.
He does.
Yeah,
he looks old.
He looks like an old Matt Ryan.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm rolling with you on the Washington laying the 1.5. I think they take this game. I'm gonna say by at least a touchdown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of like that as well. I could see a 27, 20, 27, 17 game.
Like 31.
Yeah,
Something like that. 31,
I don't even
21.
think it gets that high. Honestly, I think it stays in the 20s somewhere. I think you're looking at it like I said, probably like a 27-20, 27-17 game.
Right.
Atlanta will get a few touchdowns, but it's to me, Atlanta just needs to show something, and they haven't shown me anything yet.
These teams both offensively are so bad that if ever it was going to happen, I could see
It's
this
this
game
week.
being a 2-0 game. This could be Washington getting a safety and that being
That's
it for the
That's it.
points.
Well, and oddly enough, I actually like Washington's players in this game. I think they have a good game this week. I think
it's there.
And
It's just does Heineken
There you go.
yeah.
fucking does he look like he did in the playoffs last year?
Tyler Heineken.
So far this year, in his starts, he's looked pretty damn good, and
He's
it's
looked
hard to
good. He's
it's
not
hard to
looked great,
trust
but
that.
good.
Yeah,
Right.
it's hard to trust that. And when you're looking at fantasy, listen, looking good in real life and looking good in fantasy are two different things, right? I mean,
Right.
his outcomes have fantasy wise have been worth it.
Yeah.
And he's outscoring some guys that are in some starting lineups. But this is one of those
Okay.
games against Atlanta where you look at it and you go, they could do well in this game. And then on the other side of the ball, honestly, I look at this as they might try to force the ball to Calvin Ridley because they've been dogged so much for not getting the ball that he could have a big game and Atlanta still look bad and lose this game.
We have the early inactives.
Okay.
Dalvin Cook is active. Inactive will be Andy Dalton, Eagles offensive tackle Lane Johnson, Colts quarterback Jacob Eason, and linebacker Anthony Barr. Those are
Okay.
all according to Schefter.
Gotcha. Okay.
Football Jesus has spoken.
Football Jesus. Football Jesus.
Yeah.
All right. Any other aspects on this game, fellas?
No.
Okay. Moving on to the Cardinals at the Rams. This is a sexy game.
I'm actually looking forward to this one.
This is a sexy matchup.
Yes, and it's a 4 o'clock.
Arizona's getting 4 points in this game, traveling to Los Angeles. And looking at this, it is 62% of the money on Los Angeles as far as the spread goes, minus the 4, and 78% on the money line. And I wouldn't necessarily take a side in this one. The over-under's at 54.
I would take the over in this.
I like the over. I'm with you there.
Yep.
I wouldn't take a side in this one either way, unless you're going to put money on Los Angeles money line, which doesn't make much sense.
Nope.
Unless you're putting it in a parlay. But I can't really pick this game out. I can see both teams playing well in this game as far as offense goes. I could see it being a shootout. I could see it being a field goal game. So I don't, in one way or the other. I think Los Angeles probably wins this game, but
This would be a game that I'd have fun with some prop bets on.
yeah.
This is one where I would take a flyer on Woods. I know he's been kind of rough so far, but Cards are a good team. If the Rams want this victory, a guy like Robert Woods is going to have to help out. So this would be a game where I'd put, I'd put $20-$30, take maybe a 50-plus yard game from him and a touchdown, something like that. But when it comes to straight up line over and under, I'm not touching either one of those. I would have fun with some props on it though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of am with you there, and I like all these guys in this game. I think you play all your guys in this game. Like if you have them, you play them, and I would even go as far as to say throw in Rondale Moore as like a fringe deep sleeper, maybe a DFS play. I think everybody in this game has a chance to score points.
Yeah.
I play all my guys in this game, and I can see again looking at tight ends. We talk about how slim pickings tight ends are. Look at Tyler Higbee.
Yep.
Like that guy is worth putting in your lineup.
He is.
And if you picked him up, you're looking pretty good right now because you have one of the tight ends outside of the top 3 that are producing on a semi-consistent basis. I mean, he's picked up 5 catches in 2 of the 3 games, so that's pretty good for a tight end in fantasy.
Is Matty Stafford moved into a guaranteed must start at
Yes.
quarterback?
Yes.
I think with that offense, yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
I know there's still, I'm not gonna say quite a few, but there's still some leagues where he's actually available at quarterback.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
So
And that's crazy to me. Yes, he's a must start every week.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
You're to the point where he was
Unless you have
stat Padford when he was here, and he was pretty much a must start then.
Yeah, right. Say he was
and now you've got him with 3 talented receivers.
yeah, he was a fantasy slot machine with the Lions
Yeah.
because he would have to throw the ball.
and
every
he's putting
down.
up the same numbers.
Yeah.
He's just winning games too.
Right.
All right, moving on to the next game, Seattle at San Francisco.
Sexy.
Yes, I actually
Has
agree
the
with
potential to be sexy.
you.
I think it's a sexy game. It's in division. They're both good team. I don't know. About
They're both decent. They're both.
I don't know about the
decent
Sea
teams.
Chickens yet, but
Seattle's giving up. Seattle's getting 2.5 in this game. 69% of the money's on that, and then 69% of the money's also on Seattle actually winning this game in San Francisco.
wow.
And I love that bet. I love that pick. I actually put money on it. I like Seattle to win this game. I think the 2.5 points you're going to get are going to be, just bread and butter and icing on the cake. I would take the money line and get the extra juice out of it.
Okay.
I think
I really love them
yeah.
in this game.
With the Sea Chickens, it's kind of hard just because you see it like that. Like last week, they
They're
were playing,
two different teams.
They're a Jekyll and Hyde team. However, I don't trust Jimmy G. I don't. I'm sorry. Joe, you know my feelings.
Oh
on
yeah,
Jimmy G.
oh yeah, absolutely.
And I do. I think the Seahawks go down there, and I think the Seahawks take it 100%.
Yeah, I'm wholeheartedly with you on that one. So much so that I threw I threw some ducats on it.
Couple units.
A couple units. So moving over to the fantasy side of this, though, I look at it, and of course, I look at all the guys on Seattle, and I'm playing them. Russell Wilson, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Chris Carson. You're playing those guys because San Francisco's defense hasn't looked that good. They don't look like that defense that was there 2 years ago before they had all
let
the
up
injuries
30
last
plus
year.
to Detroit, even if it was in garbage
Yeah,
time.
I mean, they still let that up. And then, and of course, you look at the defense for Seattle. They're not great. I look at depending on who starts, if Elijah Mitchell actually plays, I play him. If Trey Sermon is the guy and Elijah Mitchell's out, I play Trey Sermon. I look for that run.
It's
the
the way
run
it's
games
trending right now.
Yeah, it looks like Elijah Mitchell's going to be out.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the way it's looking.
So I look at that and I see that and I say that run game, the run games against Seattle have gotten points. So the run defense for Seattle is not that great. I think I play the running back there. I stay away from Garoppolo, but I still think I kind of play Debo and Ayuk there. I think Brandon Ayuk can get some rushing out of the backfield as well, and then I think that passing game can create some points against the Seattle team. I still think Seattle wins this game, but there's still some points to be had here in fantasy.
No.
Anything else for you guys on that one?
No.
No, sir.
Lost and past that one. All right. Pittsburgh at Green Bay. Pittsburgh plus 6.5 in this game. It looks like the majority of the money is on Green Bay on both ends of this game.
And it should be.
Over-under's 45. Yeah, I mean, I'm not necessarily going to bet this game, but if I had to choose, I would definitely choose Green Bay in this game.
Oh, yeah.
Even if you had to tell me I had to give up the 6.5, I would.
Yeah, I got it at 6. So,
Okay.
Yeah. Green Bay I think is definitely going to cover that, and I don't think that'll be an issue whatsoever. Kind of hesitant on the 45, just because I don't. That Pittsburgh offense is so bad. It's so bad.
I was going to say, this could very well be like a 17-21 game.
Yeah, their defense is decent, but their offense is just atrocious. So yeah, I honestly would, if I gun to my head, I would take the under on this one.
Yeah.
Gun to my head.
Yeah, I think I lean with you there, bud. I really do. I don't dislike the fantasy players in this game as far as if you have to play them. Aaron Jones, you're trotting him out there, right?
Yeah.
And Devontae Adams, you're trotting him out there.
And his father's ashes, apparently.
Yeah. And
Did he find him?
as long as he
Yeah.
keeps him around
Okay,
his
they
neck this
found him.
time.
They made like a little pouch on his jersey so he can keep him
Oh,
on his
good.
jersey.
So it doesn't fall off
How
his neck.
considerate.
now.
I know, right?
I mean, I'm hesitant to make fun of it because
Yeah.
it's really a nice thing to do.
It really
but
is, yeah.
We're really sitting here talking about pockets on jerseys for like, okay,
For Ashes.
yeah, like
yeah.
didn't see this being a conversation this week.
No, but then again, we have talked about salad for like 20 minutes. That's at one point
That's
on
true.
our
Yeah.
Tuesday show. So
You never know what we're going to talk about on these shows.
Never.
You never know.
Speaking of which, not to get completely into it and completely off the topic of football, but I'm reading it right now. Did you see what Robin Lehner said last night?
I did.
Holy shit.
He was lobbing bombs
The
yesterday.
NHL is about to have a problem on their hands.
Yes, they are.
Just real quick, I'll read the tweet for you because your eyes are
He's like, hey, Joe has no
are
idea.
$50. You got no idea what's going on. So Robin Lehner tweeted out last night: Is it common for workplaces to give out benzos to employees when they travel and Ambien? Should that not be done by doctors or psychiatrists? Just asking for a friend. To be clear, this isn't happening in Vegas, but I know of plenty of other teams. I've also been on those other teams.
All right.
He's lobbing some bombs.
All right.
The NHL's about to have a problem.
Yep.
Yeah.
Passing out benzos to everybody.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to football.
All right. Other guys in this game, you play Aaron Rodgers, right? And then on the other side of the ball, I don't think I played too many guys other than Najee Harris. I mean, if you have to, you got to play Deontay Johnson, you Juju Smith, but Claypool's out, so those guys might get more work. I don't necessarily like this game fantasy-wise, other than you got to play your studs, but I don't see
figure
big
out
points in this
if
game.
Claypool is their 1, their 2, or their 3.
I don't think they can figure that out. But if he's out, the other two guys get more work.
Because last week we talked about it, and you're like, he's not even their 2, and then they used him like he was the 1.
Well, because
And it's just like,
Juju got banged up, and Deontay was already banged up.
Yeah,
so,
but even when Juju's not banged up, like he's more focused on the whole TikTok thing.
well, and he's more of their slot guy, which is their kind of their
Right.
two. So
And then on the outside, who was it? Johnson that they
Deontay
got?
Johnson, yeah,
Like, kid's been nice, but
he's considered more their one when he's healthy. But
yeah, it's been a weird situation in Pittsburgh. It's been a weird
Well,
year for
and-
Pittsburgh. We expected them to suck. They haven't completely sucked, but
when we talked about Matt Ryan looking old,
Ben Roethlisberger, holy shit.
he looks fucking
Grandpa
awful.
Ben.
He looks awful.
Dude, when you're tripping over your own feet because you can't run anymore,
He
was
looks
bad.
very, very bad.
Yeah, noodle arm, man. Noodle arm.
Yeah. And legs.
And legs.
And
yes.
legs.
Yeah.
the women in Pittsburgh can relax because he is not chasing him down there.
No. No. Next up, we have the Ravens at the Broncos. And this is actually one of the 3 Danny White picks for the week as well. I'll read this off to you. So Denver's getting 1 at home. 65% of the money is on Baltimore giving up the 1. 71% of the money is on them money line. The over/under is at 44. And Danny Y has the Ravens as a pick 'em, which even if it's given up 1 point, I assume he's going to take them for 4 units in this game.
Can I tell you why I back that?
Yeah, absolutely. Please do.
So 44 minutes ago, Schefter tweeted this out. Denver will be without 7 starting players today.
Oh, shit, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely give me Baltimore. Holy fuck.
So give me all 4 of those units plus like another 12.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm hammering this one.
Yeah.
Well, and also, I look at it, even before that happened, I was leaning this way, and I actually put money on it as well. Denver has an inflated 3-0 record. Mm-hmm. They really haven't played anybody. And they've looked good against teams that they really should look good against. And
This is the week you need to prove that you're a legit team.
and this is the week they will not prove that.
Right. And I fully agree with
Yeah.
that. But
And-
I'm
and
saying
even
like,
without those 7 starters missing.
you have adversity and good teams play through adversity. You are playing, I'm not going to say a great team, but you're playing a much better than average team. This is the game that you have to convince people you're a good team. And I just don't see it being possible.
No, I agree with you there. And I think,
The 1 point is a gift. I take that all day long.
yeah.
Yep.
But yeah,
I actually took a money line, and I threw him in a parlay with money line as well. And again, I feel even better about it now that I know 7 starters are not playing.
no
so
shit.
That's I felt good about it even before that. But I mean, that just goes to show you now. It's to me, it's even a better pick
Yeah.
at this point.
I might even consider buying that up and give up like that might be one that I give up 6.5 on.
Ooh, I mean, that's ballsy. That's ballsy.
I'm considering doing that just because I like
ballsy.
Baltimore by more than a touchdown.
Hey,
And being without set, like, I don't know. I might get crazy later. You might get a text message.
Being without
you
seven,
might get one where I freak out and back out of it too. But
Yeah, right.
Being without 7 starters is big.
yeah.
That's big.
And they've only got the spread at 1.
Yeah, well, I don't think they've adjusted the spread based off of that yet. I think this was the spread just based off of the teams in general.
Yeah. If you can get that at 1 right now, get it.
Yeah, and I look at
Chris is literally on his phone right now.
he's putting in that bet. I look at fantasy wise in this game. I look at you play Lamar Jackson, and if you got Marquise Brown, I think you trot him out there. He literally dropped 2 touchdowns last week, so he's getting opportunities.
He's still got 15 receptions.
Right, and he still has scored points in every game. I think this is a sneaky play for Rashad Bateman, who's coming back for the first time. He's the rookie for them that got injured in preseason. He's playing his first game today. It's a sneaky play for him. Maybe DFS. I don't know if I start him in a regular league yet, but see how he plays, and then you go from there. But I think in DFS, he's a sneaky buy down play on a third wide receiver where you can spend money elsewhere and just hope that he gets some points. I think season long, look at him to increase his role there. I think he's going to become the number 1 there. I think he's good enough to surpass Marquise Stonehands Brown.
That guy.
Yeah. And then you look at the other side of the ball, and you have to start some of these guys. Noah Fant, Cortland Sutton.
Yeah.
You kind of have to start them. I don't necessarily know if I expect a big week, but if you look at Detroit and some of the other teams that have played against them, you look at Vegas, right? They had a good offensive outing.
They've given you the script on how to defensively play the Ravens.
Right. Well, and offensively they've given you the script as well, because they've done well offensively against the Ravens this year. They don't look like the same Ravens on defense, and I think I'm trotting some of those guys out there. I think even some deep guys that you can play and hope for the best are Tim Patrick and Melvin Gordon. But you play Noah Fant, you play Cortland Sutton. I might even, no, I wouldn't do that. But I was going to say maybe even Javonte Williams, but because Melvin Gordon is banged up. But that's another dart throw, maybe. But
So with Denver, the one thing that I'm watching in this game, if I even turn it on, be honest, that Cards-Rams game is going to be
I'll see whatever's on Red Zone.
Red Zone, baby.
But this Ravens-Broncos game, the thing I'm paying attention to really is Teddy Bridgewater. If the Broncos are going to be legit, Bridgewater's going to have a decent game. I'm not trusting that it's going to be this week, but if he has a decent game this week, moving forward, DFS, I'm looking at him as a low-cost quarterback potentially at that point, and even a bye-week starter. I'm not looking to slot him in as a starting quarterback every week, but if you're in a 2-quarterback league, that's a potential, and for sure in some of those DFSs, Bridgewater's starting to look like an option depending on what he can do tonight.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you there. I agree with you. And I don't think he's gotten enough credit. Same as I don't think Sam Darnold's gotten enough credit for where those teams have gotten to based on them. And it's because they haven't really shown that they can be the go-to guy in the past as far as quarterbacks go. But I think they've both done a very good job. Now, Bridgewater's done it against lesser teams, but when it comes down to it, he's still done the job.
Yeah,
And
he's done it in a few places.
Yep. So and he showed it. He showed in New Orleans that he can get the job done.
Yeah.
When he stepped in there.
Chris, did you find anything on that bet?
No, I got to.
Okay.
Yeah, not yet.
Did you get in on it? No.
I will.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I will.
I saw you put it down, and I didn't know if maybe the line had moved or something on you. Or
Nope.
Okay, perfect. So it seems like you can still get it at 1 right now.
Yeah, I would hop on that one. All right, we have our next game is Tom Brady going back home to New England. This is I don't know if anybody knows this, but Tom Brady used to play for New England. Led them to several Super Bowl victories, actually.
No way.
Yeah, and him and Bill Belichick. I guess it's there's some animosity there. I guess I don't really know.
This is like, did you know Matt Stafford and Clayton Kershaw are friends?
This is
Did you know that?
This is one of those games where I expect it to be very emotional in New England because of the return of Antonio Brown.
Well, obviously, yeah. I mean, that's huge. That's huge.
That's what. And did you hear Gronk is actually not playing in this game? By the way,
He's not.
He's already ruled out. Didn't even travel.
So Gronk was questionable, which this is what I find amazing. Gronk was questionable with multiple broken ribs. If you've ever had a broken rib, you know how fucking bad that hurts.
I have.
Plus, how long it takes for those to heal.
Yeah.
And the fact that we were even questioning if Gronk was going to play with multiple broken
Well,
ribs.
it didn't even, the report didn't even come out that they were broken ribs until yesterday.
yeah, it came out yesterday.
It
He
was
was just questionable all week.
It was questionable all week with a rib injury.
Yeah.
With a middle body injury, and it was like all of a sudden, like you just now discovered you had broken
Yeah,
ribs.
right.
If I have a broken rib, I'm fetal position on the ground half the time trying to breathe.
Yeah.
And nothing more because breathing alone is difficult to do with a broken rib.
It is very much so.
This guy's talking about going and playing one of the more emotional games he'll ever play in his lifetime.
And I think the team probably had to tell him no. Honestly.
I believe that. It's Gronk. The way the guy plays, yes, he's an absolute beast. But when it comes to being a human being, he's otherworldly.
If we're gonna look at the game on this one, it's -7 for Tampa traveling to New England. 86% of the money's on that. 95% of the money is on Tampa money line. Over/unders at 49.5. I don't.
take the over on this one.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know if I touch it. It's pretty dead even as far as money goes, but
I think Brady runs it up, man.
Yeah.
I really do. Yeah.
Revenge
That's it.
game.
I think he's
He is-
revenge.
He is gonna fucking carve.
I
that
think
defense
he sticks with the
up.
Belichick. I really do.
I was looking at him to stick it to him by getting Gronk a couple of touchdowns for sure. I think he gets Antonio Brown at least one in this game,
Yeah.
and
with Gronk out.
yeah, at least one. And I kind of tend to lean that way. I would take Tampa -7 for sure.
Oh yeah.
If,
Absolutely.
if you put AB's touchdown over under at 1.5, I would hammer the over.
All right.
Just a prop bet. I don't know
Yeah,
if
right,
that's an
right.
option for a prop bet out
No,
there. but
I'm sure it is.
with Gronk being out and the way Brady does revenge.
yeah, I think he's gonna run it up.
So
man.
you would want to take the Antonio Brown multiple touchdown.
Yeah,
prop bet.
I would hammer that, to be honest with you.
I like all the big guys in this game, and I also like Cameron Brate as like a dart throw tight end. If you had Gronk,
It's him or OJ.
yeah, I mean, and OJ hasn't done anything in years. OJ Howard. Oh, Howard. Never mind.
No, that OJ has. He got out of jail.
Sorry, what was subtle humor there?
He did something else in the 90s, too.
Yeah, he
but
did. I don't remember
just
what it
can't
was.
prove it.
Well, and I don't remember what it was. It was a really big news story though.
Yeah, you just...
something about a white Bronco. I don't know.
Yeah,
weird.
Yeah, something about a waiter. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But the other OJ, yeah, he hasn't done shit.
Yeah. He's done less than the other OJ.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
At a third of his age.
Yeah. I would look at Cameron Brate as like a DFS play. Like I would throw him in DFS. Low cost,
Yeah.
right? Like don't
And
spend up at other positions.
I know with them having Gronk's the sexy option, and trust me, I'm a Gronk guy. I'm going to take Gronk over just about anybody on
Yeah.
that roster, even though it doesn't warrant that.
Of course.
But at the end of the day, Cameron Brate was actually one of the more reliable tight ends at one point.
He's a decent player.
When you say he's more than a dart throw, like he really is more than a dart throw because he has some of the most sure hands at the tight end spot.
And he's proven he can get the job done when it's him as the starting tight end. And you could do worse if you have an injury at a tight end position, or if you have a tight end that you don't necessarily trust every week because you
Right.
drafted late, a tight end late. Throw him in there. And then DFS, you always are looking to spend down at one position, right? You're looking to spend down at one position that has an injury and a guy filling
Brate's
in.
going to be a real nice choice at the tight end
Brate's
spot.
a great choice at that tight end spot for that spend low, spend up at other positions in DFS today. I really love that play for them.
And you know how Brady loves his tight ends. He's using it against a defense that's not very good when it comes to the front seven, or really the secondary either. But you're looking at your front seven to cover that tight end spot for the most part.
Yep.
Unless you have your Gronk, your Kittle, your Kelsey, something like that, you're trusting your secondary with them. But pretty much outside of those top 4 or 5, you're trusting a linebacker to cover them. And I like Brate on a linebacker all day. So unless they're going to alter that game plan and play him the same way they would play Gronk, yeah, I'm really with you on that Brate choice.
Yeah, and other side of the ball, I'll let you take this one first. What do you see coming from New England in this game, guys? I don't necessarily know. I see much. I personally see a couple players I would play, but I'm gonna let you guys take this one at first.
I see Mac Jones throwing at least 2 interceptions.
Okay.
I think right now Mac Jones needs to, and I do agree with you. He's going to make a couple of mistakes because I think he's going to be really pushing.
Yep.
If there's a game, if I'm Mac Jones and there's a game I want this year, it's this game, and it's for no other reason than Tom Brady. I think you have some sort of, I'm going to call it weird thing going on with Mac Jones, but I think where you have that revenge mindset, this is a revenge game for a guy that he has no revenge to get on.
Right.
Like, he's just coming out to prove that he can do what Tom Brady does. As far as New England's defense, I don't fucking touch them.
No, and to me, the two guys that I see that I would play, and Mac Jones in a 2-quarterback league, I maybe a sleeper play there if you don't have anything better. But I do like Jacoby Myers and Kendrick Bourne in this game because the defensive backs for Tampa Bay have been susceptible this year. They haven't been very good.
That secondary's not been the championship secondary that they were last year.
No, and that defense in general really hasn't. But I'm looking more at the passing game, and I think New England plays from behind in this game all game. I think Tom gets up early in this game on them, and I think Jacoby Myers and I think Kendrick Bourne are going to get a lot of targets in this game, so that you could do worse than to play them in this game. And again, if you're talking DFS, dart throw it spending low on a position. You know what I mean? Wide receiver 3, Jacoby Myers or Kendrick Bourne are not costing you a lot of money. You can spend up at other positions. So I do like them. I don't necessarily like anybody else on New England in this game, but that passing game, they're going to have to throw most games.
Oh,
right? I mean, it's going to be all an all game passing attack.
Right.
Like, this is one of those situations where I look at New England's offense and I'm not trusting them. I understand there's certain spots that you trust them in, but what Tom Brady is going to have that Tampa Bay team prepared for, like, if there's anyone who knows that offense, it's Tom Brady. Tom Brady is going to have that defense prepared for everything.
Yeah.
Like, I just think this could turn potentially really ugly for New England tonight.
I hope it does, because you know how much I love the Patriots.
Yes, I do. I'm a Pats fan. I said it numerous times. I was more just Gronk and Brady fan, so I'll always go with them to beat the Pats. But I do like what the Pats got going on. I think they're a couple years out from not continuing the dynasty. I think it's official to say that dynasty has ended.
It's dead.
Yeah, they're
dead. DED dead. 100%.
DED.
Chris
dead.
isn't wasting any.
DED
The
dead.
second he could say it was dead, it was
DED
dead.
Yes.
But I think New England's got something there that, given a couple years of decent drafting, they can put something together. I don't think they're going to be able to do what Belichick's done in the past.
No,
where,
hell no.
I don't know, round guys turn into studs. But
I think they can continue being a playoff team.
Yeah.
I see the pieces there. I see the direction it's headed. It hasn't looked very good this last
I also
couple years,
think McDaniels is your coach possibly next year, if not the year after. I'm not saying Belichick's going to get fired.
No,
I
think
see him stepping aside.
There's a report coming out. There's a book that's I don't know if it's Kraft's book or what it is, but it's coming out, and it essentially says that Robert Kraft thinks Bill Belichick's the biggest asshole in sports.
Oh,
that they fucking hate each other.
There was a quote out there that Robert Kraft was somewhere hanging out with somebody and said, "Yeah, that kind of sucks. It was the game they were playing Detroit." Mm-hmm. He said it kind of sucks. I have to leave here and go hang out with the biggest asshole ever in Detroit.
Yeah, like it's gotten that ugly.
Not word for
at this
word,
point.
but that's pretty much what was said.
It's gotten that ugly. It
But
sounds like between the two of them, and quite honestly, Belichick's too old. Like,
But this is where Kraft is genius. Yeah, you might not like the guy, but you fucking win with this guy.
Yep.
And this is where Jerry Jones fucked up with Jimmy Johnson.
Yep.
He's like, they hated each
And
other.
I think this year he finally owned that.
They hated each other. But Jimmy Johnson you could have won more Super Bowls. if
There's
you
a
kept
reason
Jimmy Johnson.
opposites attract.
Yeah.
Like-
Honestly, in 94, you probably don't lose to that 49er team in 94 if you have Jimmy Johnson.
I would agree with that, and I'm a 49ers
Right.
guy. I would agree with that.
Yeah. It's hard to argue it.
Yeah. Anything else on this game? We got one game left, boys.
No.
All right. We got Vegas traveling to Los Angeles to play the Chargers.
I'm so excited for this game.
Vegas is getting 3 points in this game. It looks like it's an even split across the board pretty much, whether you're taking the points or giving the points in this one. And it's actually dead nuts even as whether you're taking Vegas or the Chargers in money line.
Shouldn't be.
51.5 is the over-under in this game. The over is hammered in this game.
I'd definitely take the over.
Yeah, I would agree.
I
with
would hammer the over in this game as well.
And I'm going to take the Raiders getting the points.
I would take the Chargers giving the points.
I
was
the
gonna
reason why
say, I
like we
would-
say letdown games. But what
I can- yeah.
what the Chargers did last week, marching
to
into
KC.
KC, and that was a big huge momentum game. Whatever you won it, that's great.
Yep.
But I think this one they come down a little bit. And
No,
I
you
think
make a solid.
and I think
point.
the Raiders take advantage of that.
Well, we said it about the Ravens last week. Right?
Exactly.
It was,
That's
it's
I'm
kind
doing
of
the same
it's kind
thing.
of set up the exact same
Same
way,
thing.
right? Other than the Chargers at home and
I get it.
Ravens were on the road. But yes, I know I agree
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah,
Yeah, very
That's
much
the only
so.
reason why I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna take the Raiders getting the 3.
I'm taking the Chargers, Steven.
Fair.
Cover the 3.
Fair.
I would take the Chargers money line, to be honest.
Fair.
But just to kind of counter something Joe had said earlier with the Jacobs situation, I almost called him Oakland again. Vegas's run game is non-existent without Josh Jacobs. Like,
Well,
yes,
Peyton Barber looked
they
good.
have used Barber.
He looked good
I wouldn't say he
against the
looked
bad
good.
run defense, but he looked good.
And you also see them relying heavily on Kenyon Drake as well. Kenyon Drake's their passing guy. When Jacobs is in, he does a little bit of both. Barber is your runner, Drake is your passer, and that's the way they're set up right now. And it's no disrespect to either one of them because I love the football they've been playing. But in that situation, I just think San Diego or Los Angeles now, this is a clusterfuck of a game. This is Oakland versus San Diego.
There you go.
And I'm going to keep calling it that the longer we talk about it. But
Yeah.
the Chargers are the better team. And I hate to say that because I love the way that the Raiders are playing. I'm obviously buying in with the 3-0 record. The Chargers are just on that different level. I don't think they're a Super Bowl team. I think Oakland,
They're starting.
Again,
They're starting to cusp a little bit, though. Like
they
they're-
are
they're
starting
they're,
to.
They're coming up over.
But you know how we always talk about the elite tier, the first
Yep.
tier, the second tier when it comes to quarterbacks? If we're talking teams, I think Vegas is at the very top of that second tier. I think LA is closer to the middle of that first tier. And it's no disrespect. You know I love my Raiders. If you listen to this show, you know I talk about them all the time. But it just, realistically, that's where I see them at right now. And I might be being conservative, trying not to get my hopes up because
Right.
of the emotional abuse I've taken as a football fan. But
That's my choice, brother.
oh, it very much is. Nobody chooses to be a Jaguars fan.
And sadly,
No.
people do choose to be Lions fans, which is fucking amazing.
Yeah, I can justify
they
that
choose
before
it.
I
They
can,
choose it year after year after year.
like that. You guys always ask that question: why do you choose to be a Lions fan? In all honesty, the one I look at is the Jaguars.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, the Lions might not have sucked 70 years ago. The Jaguars have always sucked, though.
But they weren't around 70 years ago. And they've
Yeah,
made-
but
and
that's
they-
what
and
makes it
they've-
worse.
And they've won
There's
a,
no history.
And they've been to more.
they've won a playoff game.
Yeah, and they've been to more conference championships than the Lions have. Think about that. Let that one marinate.
Yeah.
I mean, they have
Yeah.
what, 2 or 3?
2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, let that one marinate.
And see, I wouldn't question your Jags fandom as much as I question the
I
Lions.
question my Jags fandom more
I
than
don't.
I question my Lions fandom.
They've given you-
because the Lions. At least I have the. Well, I mean, I live in Detroit.
I mean,
They've given you more reason to
right.
be a fan than the Lions have.
Jacksonville's been around since, what, 95? I believe.
I believe.
I think
yeah.
they
I
were
think so.
introduced in '93. Their first season was '95.
And since 57, the Lions have one playoff win. The Jaguars have more than that since 1995.
yeah, but that one win was 3 years before the Jaguars were even.
Again, let that marinate.
Yep. 2 conference championships.
I know.
So anyway, so to the fantasy aspect of this game, before we have to roll out of here, boys, I'm going to throw out my side of this. I
Is
love.
Carr starting quarterback for you at this point? Because
Depends on matchup.
it's still Derek Carr at the end of the day.
It is, and it depends on matchup. I have him ranked as my number 17 this week, so technically, no, I don't have him as a starter this week. But it depending on where you drafted quarterback, who drafted backups, he could be. This is a matchup where he could see an uptick in production.
Once you start hitting bye weeks, I totally support throwing him in as a bye week starter, depending on the matchup.
and he's been
but
good so far. I can't knock how he's looked so far.
He's
this season.
had. I mean, I think it's nuts. But watching people talk on TV, the talking heads are saying he's had an MVP season so far.
He's played out of his mind. He's played very
We're
well.
a month into the season. I know that doesn't mean shit.
This is
but
we're through 3 weeks. We're going
Yeah.
into week 4. On the other side of the ball, on that side of the ball, you play Waller all the time. You just expect his production
Yeah.
to be there. there. I think some
Waller's.
other-
I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I argue it if I'm wrong. Waller's the best tight end in football right now.
overall, yeah. Overall, yeah. Him and Kittle are above Kelsey as far as overall tight ends goes. As far as receiving tight ends, obviously Kelsey is head.
He's
and shoulders
incredible.
above.
He's incredible.
But as far as best overall tight ends, I would put those two ahead of him. Because you're taking a lot of other things into account as far as overall tight ends goes. Not
I
just
think
pass catching
physically
ability.
he's more dominant than the other two, and the other two are fucking beasts.
Right.
I just
And then, so for receivers, Frank, what do you think about Ruggs? Ruggs has come on. He looks actually like the receiver
there
they
is
drafted.
This beautiful situation going on right now in Vegas with all three of those receivers. You've got Renfro and you've got Ruggs who are playing. You can interchange them. Who's the one? Who's the two? Doesn't matter. They're both playing.
And then you've got Edwards.
And then you've got Edwards, who has been the most clutch receiver in football so far. Like, if there's a play that needs to get made, he's the dude I want out there. And it's kind of funny for a guy who's been essentially a ghost. Like, I until 2-3 weeks ago, I had never really even recognized that guy as being on the team. So it's Ruggs at the end of the day, though, is my one. I love Renfro in the slot. I love the way the dude plays, but he is going to be your heavy red zone target.
I trot those guys out there.
Ruggs is your deep threat. He's been getting hammered on when it comes to the deep ball. I love the way they've been playing. I trust both of them right now, but Ruggs has definitely got more of the upside. He's going to get more yards.
And I think I trot them out there in this game and on a weekly basis at this point. I also
Ruggs will get you the yards.
Edwards,
Renfro's going to be touchdown dependent.
well, and he's going to Renfro is more of like the PPR guy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's your slot guy. He's your PPR guy.
He's your Cobb.
Yeah. So I mean, and not necessarily putting up that kind of production,
Right.
but I mean, I think he's earned a spot in somebody's lineup as far as even a flex or wide
I would
receiver
agree.
3. Edwards, I don't think he's earned that spot yet, but as far as real life football goes, he's been clutch. I think as far as playing him in
Yeah.
fantasy, he's a little ways away yet.
If you got clutch points in fantasy football, he would be a guy I'd look at. Outside of that, unfortunately, he's not going to do you any good.
Right.
But
and
Vegas's run game is without Jacobs. Like I said, Barber's been reliable. He's been good enough. They're obviously 3-0. The run game's actually doing something, which has been great.
Yep.
But it's not. I'm not comfortable with it unless it's Jacobs back there. When you look at Kenyon Drake, I started Kenyon Drake the last 2 weeks. I didn't love doing that, but with Jacobs being out, I took the chance.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, he's heavy in the pass game. That's where most of his yards are coming. And
Well,
the
he's
nice
getting-
thing is they pass the ball.
listen, if you're PPR, then those points
Yeah.
are
You're going
are
to get
nice.
6-7 points just
in reception.
just on receptions with him. Defense, I might leave the defense on the bench for this game, though.
I absolutely would, and that takes me to my number 3 quarterback ranking for the week is Justin Herbert. I love this matchup for the Chargers on the opposite side of the ball. I think this is going to be a slugfest. That's why I love the fact you guys took the over in this game. This is a slugfest. I think Herbert is gonna have a hell of a game. I love Austin Eckler in this game. He's actually ranked as my number 2 running back for the week. And as far as wide receiver rankings go, I have Keenan Allen at 4. And I have Williams at my 15. So I think the offense of the Chargers is going to be just a little bit too much for Vegas. I think Vegas keeps up with them to a certain extent, so they'll get some points on offense as well. But I think the Chargers' offense in this one is going to just show out.
If Vegas plays Williams like the 1, then I agree with you on Keenan Allen. If they play Allen like the 1 that he should be treated as, because Keenan Allen, Mike Williams has been incredible this year.
Oh,
But
yeah.
Keenan Allen
Oh.
has that other gear that you just.
Mike Williams has been the steal of the draft so far.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that. But Keenan Allen just has that other gear. He has that elite gear in
does.
him. So, in my opinion, you just always have to treat him as the 1, and that could open up the potential for Mike Williams to have a huge game. Like, one of them's going to have a huge game. It's just going to depend on which one Vegas plays and
honestly,
respects the most.
Some games they'll both have a big game. I think this is the game.
You think both of them?
I think they both score a touchdown tonight or Monday night. Sorry.
I mean, you know how big of a fan I am of the safety positions when it comes to Vegas. So I think with the assistance of Abram, I think they can handle one of them. Handling both of them is going to be my question. And that's ultimately why I'm taking the Chargers in this game.
Yep.
So
All right, well, there you have it. That's going to do it for this week's edition of Sports on Tap Game Day. Make sure you tune in on Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. for the OG Sports on Tap Detroit podcast and live show. Tune in again next week at 10:30 a.m. on Sunday for Sports on Tap Game Day. Make sure you go to our website, sotdet.com. Check out all of our fantasy rankings, our show picks, Danny Wise picks, the blogs. Go there and just check everything out. There's a lot of stuff for you to look through there. We appreciate you guys listening and or watching at whatever point in time you do. And go enjoy your Sunday. Peace out.
See you.
Go Lions.
Down the field.
Fuck this shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks, don't mind me. I'ma just grab my stuff and leave. Excuse me, please. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Nope. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Alright then. I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I don't really care. I'ma get the fuck up out of here. Fuck this shit, I'm out.